what's up with it? You watching the Big Bomber TV. Yeah, we about to check out this video from the YouTube channel Hood War Stories. And the title is A Rollin 60's Worst Enemy Will Always Be a Rollin 60's. Rollin 60's versus the Rollin 60's. Man. Yeah, with all the back and forths online between these dudes, man, it really do seem like the title ain't lying, man, for real. But yeah, man, I haven't checked out the video, don't know what they talking about, but let's check out the video and see what they talking about. Yeah.
Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode, I'll be discussing the Rollin 60's infighting. Numerically, the Rollin 60's are the largest black gang in LA County. Their territory is massive, and is carved up and divided into sections, composed of various cliques. The 60's are comprised of Front Hood, Back Hood, and the Avenues. Anything else you hear is a sub-clique under those sections. The Overhill's Back Hood section is considered the middle-class suburban area of the 60's hood. Originally referred to as the rich kids on the hill, the Overhills would give the Rollin 60's the image of being flashy and having money, while they do have hitters from that section. The Overhills are more known for scams, bank robberies, and other white-collar type crimes. They're looked at as pretty boys. Dime Block, which is a clique within the Avenue section, is situated along 10th Avenue, with the Dorset Village Apartments being their headquarters. This particular clique is considered one of the grimiest within the 60's, and is greatly responsible for giving the Rollin 60's its violent reputation. A substantial amount of the 60's gunners come from the Dime Block clique, with many members of this clique living below the poverty line. They don't like the BGs from Back Hood, and they view the Overhills as soft, because Overhills members have more resources and privilege. BGs, also known as Bryanhurst Gang, they are in charge of putting in work on the Gut Ave clique. They run their program military style, and you can't be a part of the clique unless you put in serious work. They don't accept any busters.
I'ma show you, nigga. Nigga, I'ma show you, cuz. I'ma show you, nigga. 6-0, nigga. Fuck around, break your team, boy.
And it's one of the most violent side of the 60's, to the point they call it Murderhurst. The Gut Ave clique is in the Front Hood section of the 60's. And
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't even know they was that damn huge, man. They got a big ass territory for real.
They are known to beef with the Bryanhurst Gang. They are essentially based on 11th Ave. They are big hustlers and are known to trap out those apartments because of their enormous size and numbers and stark differences among its cliques. The Rollin 60's have an extensive history of killing their own and are almost proud of it. This can be traced back to the late 80s, after the crack era divided many hoods in LA. There was a wealth gap between those who were making money and those who weren't. Jealousy and envy began to fester within this powerhouse gang. At the start of the 90s, the Rollin 60's began knocking down its own members. In 1990, Big Fee and Lil Looney were the first to be killed at the hands of the 60's. Earl Wilson, also known as Lil Looney, was a 6'0 general from Back Hood. In his heyday, he was so bold he'd walk through Crenshaw Mafia's Ground Zero, the bottoms yelling out 60 Crip. Sadly, on November 28, 1990, he would be gunned down allegedly by a fellow gang member and friend. Lil Looney's death would kick off a war between Front Hood and Overhills, and both sides were blitzing each other for a hot 2-3 month period. A few years later in 1994, another big name from the 60's would be murdered at the hands of another 60. OG Banker T was a well-loved and respected member from the 60's. He was dark-skinned with a greased-up jerry curl, and known to be a ladies' man. It was said he came up with the word tramp, and that was his creation. One day in 1994, he was in the Avenue side of the 60's. He had got into an argument with his girlfriend. Shortly after, allegedly 60's drove by and fired shots at Banker T, killing him on the spot. The murder allegedly stemmed from jealousy over a woman. With such a large hood as the Rollin 60's, at times it's difficult to keep infighting to a minimum. Bodies began dropping again in the late 2000s.
I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy, man. I mean, it was a flaw in the structure or something for real, man. Damn, they gonna fuck up they to get at each other, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie though, that be happening like in a lot of places though. When they run out of money with it, they start with each other for real.
In September of 2008, Wayne got into a physical altercation with Columbus, allegedly in front of a famous rapper. Both men were from the Rollin 60's, with Wayne being from the Dime Block clique, and Columbus was from the Overhills. During the fight, Columbus struck Wayne with a blindsided right hood and cut his eye. Wayne suffered a black eye, and Columbus would come out victorious. Afterwards, Wayne was bitter, claiming Columbus hit him with a cheap shot. He was also embarrassed this happened in front of the famous rapper. On October 6, 2008, Wayne asked Javier, who was a fellow Rollin 60, to help him kill Columbus. Javier agreed. They then found Columbus sleeping in a parked car with Cavett on 63rd Street near Crenshaw Boulevard. Javier pulled his car alongside Columbus's car. Wayne then bounced out and began firing into the car, striking Columbus and Cavett. When officers arrived, they saw White.
I ain't gonna lie, that's some shit right there. Like, you can't take a L for real. Y'all supposed to be banging. So you ain't gonna beat everybody ass, you know what I'm saying? You do need to learn how to take a L sometimes, especially if you shit like that. You ain't gonna beat everybody up.
White Benz with the windows shot out and saw that Columbus and Cavett had died from headshots. The police recovered 11 .40 caliber casings and an expanded bullet. The double homicide would go unsolved until Wayne struck again on June 2nd, 2013. On that fatal day, Wayne shot and killed Charles Webster in the middle of the Dorset Village apartments in front of numerous witnesses. Charles was not a full-fledged member, but he was an affiliate of the Dime Block clique and resided in the Dorset Village apartments. Wayne devised a plan to kill Charles after he and Charles had got into an argument, which resulted in Charles pulling out a gun on Wayne. Multiple eyewitnesses identified Wayne as the shooter, and a fellow gang member testified that Wayne confessed to him regarding the double homicide years prior. Wayne Gray was ultimately found guilty on 3 counts of murder. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole, plus 100 years to life in the state prison, including 3 25-year enhancements.
I ain't gonna lie, they ain't talking about like the other elements though. I ain't gonna lie, with the malt liquor and was consuming in the days and drugs, and it could have had a real effect on too. So I ain't gonna lie, them 40 drinking them old English 40 get demented a little bit. I ain't gonna even lie.
By the early 2010s, the Rollin 60 seemingly had to resort to clique banging, meaning a lot of members moved in their own packs, mainly because members don't know who to trust. In the early 2010s, the Overhills and the Dime Block clique were not getting along, and they reignited their war, resulting in many backdooring, and people were getting stabbed in the back left and right. Lil Scooby was a longtime member of the Rollin 60's. By 2014, he was considered an OG. His first arrest was for vandalism in 1990 at the age of 14. In 2004, he was shot by members of the Rollin 60's, resulting in him being wheelchair bound. But that wheelchair didn't stop his thug life. His wheelchair was equipped with an AK-47. He was one of the few in the streets that was pushing that line, demanding the game be ran the right way. On March 27th, 2014, shortly after 2 p.m., Lil Scooby was sitting in his wheelchair when a 6'0" member walked up and began talking to Scooby. The two spoke for about 5 minutes before the man produced a gun and shot Scooby multiple times. The shooting occurred on 11th Ave, smack dab in the heart of the Gutter Ave clique. Lil Scooby was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. He was 37 years old. In the meanwhile, individuals from the Bryanhurst and Gutter Ave clique continued to go at it. Before the two went down for murder charges, RS and Tiny GK were having an internal beef. RS would even taunt GK after GK got shot in the foot by the A-Tray Hoovers, resulting in him walking around with a boot from the bullet wound. In 2017, Fats would be murdered by a 6'0" over an internal dispute involving money. The crabs in a bucket mentality runs rampant within the 6'0's.
Man.
Eric Holder, whose hood name was Shitty Cuz, was a bona fide hitter from the Dime Block clique, who's alleged to have numerous bodies, and frontlined the war against the Overhills in the early 2010s. It's said that deep down he wanted to have Nipsey's spot. His PTSD, mental illness, and poverty was a compounded interest when he murdered Nipsey Hussle. That further destroyed the social fabric of the 6'0's to the point it could take them generations to recover.
Man, that's a fool with it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't want to join them gang shit. That, man, the internal beef is real in that one. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that shit. Yeah, man, that's a fool with it, man. I ain't know they was getting down like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. It's a crazy story. Like, share, and subscribe to the Big Mama TV. Until next time, peace. Yeah.